God intends for them. And so that's from Bryant Myers. Okay, so we're going to move into breakout rooms, or are we? Because we lost Heather, so we might have to get creative here.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes, Heather, well done.
So
okay, take it away.
The great thing about technology is it's so not reliable. And yes, you lost me, and I'm going on 2 computers right now. So I am hoping that this all works. So I'm doing the meetings from 1 computer and then me on this one. So I just want to pause here and say that one of the positive things about the pandemic is that it has brought the world together. And I just want to recognize that we have folks on this call from Kenya, the USA, Canada, Germany, Nepal, and it just fills my heart, my soul to be able to go around the world from my office. And so I just want to thank everybody for coming to the session today.
Yeah.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to do this little exercise, and I just love it. I want you to find your chat box and pull it up. And then I want you to look at these principles, and I want you to think about which one you're going to want to dive deeper into. And type it into the chat box, but do not hit enter. Just type it in the chat box. This is also for you to do a screen capture, whether it's in your brain or you actually do a screen capture or a photo, because you're going to need to know these principles as we break you up into groups. Using your little icons, your reaction there, everyone give me a thumbs up when you're ready, when you've typed in your principle. Okay, so I love this exercise, and I'm also about skill building on these calls. And so I'm going to count down, and then when I hit say go, then you put it into the chat box. So 3, 2, 1, hit enter. Wonder, wholeness. Wonder's coming up a lot. Wholeness. That's awesome. Okay, so if you want to just stop, actually go to the next slide for the questions. So we're going to be breaking you into groups, and these are 2 questions that you're going to answer in your groups. There will be moderators who have these questions, and I'll also broadcast the questions if technology goes all well. And so if you want to just stop screen sharing, I'm going to explain how this works. And I'm also going to pray that it does work. So one of the great things about Zoom, again, another thing of the pandemic is it forced these type of platforms to change up and make themselves better, is that they have breakouts. And they've designed breakouts that you can choose. So normally Zoom, you were forced into a room and you may not have wanted to be in that room. So we are going to open up 4 rooms: positivity, ownership, organic, and wholeness. And you are going to have the abilities to choose one. So a thing's going to pop up, you'll see the rooms, and then it says join, and you join whatever room you want. You also have the flexibility to move around. So if you go there and you're like, yeah, this is really not what I wanted, I'll go to my second one. We're going to do this for what, Jamie, 15 minutes?
10 maybe.
10 minutes? Okay.
Well, how many rooms? Well, it's up to you.
It's 4. And we have a little bit. We're going to do 15, I think, because you're going to introduce yourself. Yeah. So you're going to spend some time in the bit to kind of get to know who's on the call, and then do that. And so, yep, so I have breakouts close automatically. Okay, so let's pray this works. I'm going to send you all off. Rooms are now open. Did it work?
You just have to click on join a breakout room.
Yeah. And the facilitators, you know what rooms you're supposed to be joining.
So we'll be doing 4 now, and then we'll be doing the other 4 after this. So if yours is not on yet, or if the one that you really want to go to is not on yet, it will come in the next round.
I don't see the selections.
They're at the bottom. Like when you click join the room, scroll all the way to the bottom and you'll see the 4.
All I'm seeing though is still the picture, everybody's sort of like, you know, image, their screen.
For mine, it's on the left side. There's a grid.
Okay. Maybe
When I tap on it, and it says join breakout room, it's a grid of 4 squares.
Oh yeah, under more. I had to press more to get to it. Well done, Ben froze. He's the only one in a breakout room. How do you get in there though?
You have to scroll down because it gives you a list of everybody, and on the bottom it has the rooms, and you hit join.
I did hit that, but then it said it was joining wholeness, but then I came back here. Like it didn't let me in. I'll try again.
Oh, you're host, that's why.
Oh. How do I undo that?
This is what I love, is that it's also like community. You know, best laid plans.
Can you stop co-hosting me? Is that?
If you also hover over the, it might pop up the join. People are starting to go now.
Oh, I see. When you see the list and then you see the numbers changing, that's where if you hover over the number of how many participants are there, then it'll ask you to join.
Yeah.
Okay.
Slowly. It's a skill building. We're learning new skills all together.
Heather, it keeps kicking me out like every time I try to go in. It keeps kicking me back to here.
Yeah, because you're so you have to give me, because I'm working on 2 computers.
Can't.
Remove co-host positions. Try that.
Okay, I'll try again.
Yeah, mine, I can't join mine either because it kicks me back. Is it because I'm already in it?
Okay,
but so then I keep coming back to you guys.
Yeah, same with me.
I'm having a similar issue too. Maybe we just wait in this room and we can chat.
I'm manually putting you all in.
We go.
I need to join a different group. I'm supposed to be leading the ownership one, so I can't be in wholeness.
And you are?
Catherine.
Well, luckily Jamie's in the one that I'm supposed to be in, so.
Catherine, where are you supposed to go?
Ownership.
Okay.
Thanks.
And Heather, mine is saying meeting host in positivity, which is supposed to be me, but it says I haven't joined.
Monique, because you're supposed to hit accept to join.
How does one do that? Exactly.
Okay, so where are you supposed to go, Monique?
Positivity.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
And can you put me in wholeness, Heather?
So why didn't that work?
Here.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Koto.
I need to put you in your organic room, right?
Yeah, I'm in an organic group.
You're okay.
So who else is in this room?
It says you're in the organic room. You need to, is there something on your screen to say accept to go to the organic room? Hello. I noticed you're having difficulties. Are you getting?
Hello.
Hello.
So we are struggling with our internet connections, and we don't have electricity also.
Oh.
We are so sorry for that.
We are in breakouts right now. Will you, because you've been kicked in and out, have you been here for most of the session?
So not all the sessions.
This is the,
at some parts also.
this is the principal, the ABCD principles session?
Yes.
Okay, and have you been listening in for the last hour?
Yes.
Okay, is there a principle, like which one? We have positivity, ownership, wholeness, and organic. Which one would you like to talk about? Or do you want me just to put you in a random room?
Hello, Ethan.
Hello? Costo?
Yes. Yeah, I'm Koto.
And so do you keep getting pushed out of your room?
In the organic group.
I'm trying to put you in there. It's not where, oh, you dropped out.
We are using two devices, the computer and the phone. So maybe we can just join ownership.
Okay, I admitted the phone, the iPhone?
Yes. It's okay with the phone. We wanted to
Like we have a network problem here.
You're the iPhone?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me put you in, and you're supposed to be in the organic. So let's try that. There you go. You're moved to organic. The phone is.
All right.
Delphin, what we could do is we'll get you involved in the next. What's that? Koto?
Hello.
Yeah, we're in 2 minutes, we're all going to be coming back to the main room. Then you'll be able to join the conversation.
Okay, because we wanted to join positivity.
Okay.
Groups. It's
because they're just wrapping up that conversation. Let me write down, what's your next one? Wonder, momentum, relational, or transformation. And if I know that in advance, I'll put you in the right room.
Positivity is okay. No?
That room is closing in 1 minute. Okay. And then we're going to do a second round of wonder, momentum, relational, and transformational. Those are the 4 choices for the next round.
Okay. Transformation.
Transformation. Okay, I'll make sure you get into that one. Well, it's a good sign when people are able to get back to the room.
Yeah, except I prematurely locked myself out mid-sentence, but that's okay. We only have a few seconds left, so I'm sure there no whoops. Oh, trigger. I was a bit trigger happy. I was trying to move that notification out of my screen and I accidentally hit it. Oh my. Anyway.
All right, people are making their way back. All right.
Go.
Do we have everybody back?
My apologies, Gordon and Hope and Lisa, for accidentally, I hit the wrong button and ended up here again. So sorry about that. I cut it off prematurely.
All right. So this really pushed me out of my element and my skills ability. So I apologize for the technical issues here. You know, when we learn something new, very rarely does it ever go as smoothly as we expect. And as long as we learn from our challenges and we go forward. And so I learned that I can actually put people in the rooms that they want if they can't choose it. And so I'm hoping this next round will go more smoothly, but I'm going to pass it to Jamie, because we're going to do a little bit of a debrief, correct, for this session, to give me time to flip over to the next breakout session. Oh, you're muted.
You couldn't read my lips, hey? That sounds like a great idea. So let's do that. Maybe, so the group hosts, just give us an overview of kind of some of the things that you picked up on. Go ahead, who's ever wants to.
Sure, yeah, I'll go first because it's relating to the first principle of positivity. We had Gordon and Hope share a little bit about what they do and what their experience with it is. Sorry about that, Hope. I had to apologize for checking out early by mistake. Yeah, so they are both working sort of in a North American context in sort of community development type roles. And I think when it comes to positivity, the two things they highlighted, of course, is that people remain very inclined to want to describe the problems, right? It's very much what you were discussing, Jamie, talking about sort of the need for a paradigm shift and sort of just the way of thinking shift amongst people, because it's like, you know, people going to the doctor, they want the doctor to hear all their ailments and they don't want to think about the parts of them that are healthy. So it's a little bit like that. Hope was saying that she works in Manitoba there, and again, just since COVID especially, there's just been just a very large overwhelm of need, you know. So again, it sort of requires the paradigm shift in thinking. But Gordon shared some really inspiring things. He would have to elaborate for you, but basically they have managed to get in his municipality, they live in quite a small town of about 2,500 people, and they have brought into legislation an ABCD approach where any project that needs to or that is going to happen in the municipality needs to start with an assets-based like inventory. So I thought that was quite phenomenal in that context, and I'm sure Gordon can share more in the coffee room, if coffee chat place, if people want to hear more about it, but quite fascinating. So yeah.
I can go next. Our group discussed wholeness, and you know, we discussed how actually wholeness is probably one of the greatest barriers as well to actually being able to bring in people's gifts and assets from all areas of the community, and how, you know, how do you find and create like a space where all of those different varieties of people in our community feel welcome and feel invited to come and take part in, if you're talking ABCD, like talking about mapping your assets together and talking about your gifts. They're like, well, like, what do I have to offer? You know, and it was interesting because Ben, who unfortunately had to leave, works for in a group of people who do peace building. And he talked about, you know what, sometimes it's just this one common thing that brings people together, which is, I want peace. Or Stella talked about, like, I need to drink water. And so you end up getting all these different varieties of people who have that one little common thread of wanting something or looking towards something or offering something, and how that when everybody can bring their gifts to that common thread, it just builds onto the idea of momentum, I guess, which other people will be talking about soon. So that was kind of the gist of what we talked about. I don't know if I missed anything. Please fill in for the people who were there.
Good.
Our group talked about, well, it was just Alina and I in our room, but we talked about the organic principle. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about the organization that Alina works for. It's called Rescue Network Nepal. And what they do is they're a network of first aid attendants across Nepal. They essentially go into communities and teach first aid through like the churches, community centers, schools. And they, within each village, they sort of establish first aid attendants that can tend to any incidents that happen in their local villages. They're really, and it's all volunteer run in these villages. And they're just an incredible network. So I highly recommend you check them out, Rescue Network Nepal. But talking about the organic principle, we kind of got a bit on our own little tangent here. The organic principle talks about the blueprint for change. The blueprint is within the community already. And we got chatting about how Rescue Network Nepal has really like organically grown in a sense. Like they, it's all kind of word of mouth. Like they used to go out into the villages and sort of, propose their services, for lack of a better word. But now it's really had this incredible organic growth where they actually have like a kind of 2-year wait list to go out into the villages. Like these communities really want to be self-sufficient in this way. And it's just a really, incredible example of this great organic growth.
Nice.
In our group, we did ownership, and we had Ashley, who is working locally in the North American context, and Ralph, who is working globally in developing countries across the world. And Ashley raised the point that often in the community, the leader has a vision, but how do you engage people within the community? It's about engaging their vision in order to bring them in to form community. And Ralph spoke about his experiences with the old school model of international development, in which, as a visionary, you go in with a brilliant idea and local communities embrace your idea. But then there is the issue of ownership and sustainability that comes out of the lack of ownership. And now doing it with the ABCD model, he goes into communities by invitation. And the work that is done is based on the vision of the community. So it's really a change of paradigm. That's all.
Are you all ready for our next adventure? We're going to go into round 2, wonder, momentum, relational, and transformational. And I'm going to go against what Jamie had said in one of his principles. If you want it done right, do it yourself. I'm going to ask that, because I can see your names in the chat box, if you just put which one you want, that way I know I can ensure you get into the one that you want. I still, however, would like to see if we can navigate the Zoom world and find your your breakout. Now, I did a Google search while I was on the last break, and at the bottom you'll see 4 little squares, and the message will pop up from there saying choose a breakout room, and you click on those squares, and then a thing should come up, and then you hover over the one you want, and then the join will appear. So let's try that, but I will watch the chat box so that I know which ones you really want to get into. So if I see you struggling, I'll just put you there anyway. But let's just try it, okay?
Got it.
So I'm opening up the rooms. Is it open?
I don't see the drop down yet.
Maybe it's because I need to do it from this one. Should let me though. It's Zoom is not letting me have this function.
Do you know, Heather, what we could do is just, I mean, our group is reduced now, and we could just why don't we just do this together? You know, and
I think
then,
so.
You know, why don't we do that? And then, because we were gonna finish up with a group conversation anyway. So why don't we just go from that perspective now and say what, I mean, so just touch on any of those 4 that are remaining, and why. Well, so say them again. What were they? They were
wonder, momentum, relational, and transformational. I'll put it in the chat box.
Yeah, and so of those 4, what stuck out to you? What were you gravitating towards? What was interesting or problematic, etc., around those 4 principles?
I'll just say quickly that I thought that I really found, of course, all the principles are very much interrelated, of course, but wonder stuck out to me, especially as it relates to positivity. And I was speaking to the other 2 about this in our breakout, just how, you know, if a community can still, if they're still invited to imagine, you know, and to create that that sense of wonder of what can be and what could be, it really lends itself to that feeling of positivity. You know, if you can see it and you can believe that it can happen, it is very much, it very much then directs them back to an asset sort of inventory, because it's like, okay, well, that's what we want to see, and that's what we envision. Now, what do we have to create that? And I just think it really fosters that positivity. So that one stands a lot, and I like it.
I totally, oh, go ahead, Daniela.
Oh, I was just going to add on to that. Like, I used to be a high school teacher, and the whole approach to learning and teaching really shifted a number of years back to this idea of like an inquiry-based learning, and like, how do you draw people in? And maybe this is a little bit like our group was talking about wholeness, like to want to participate and have that curiosity to see what's next and what could be. And it starts by like opening the possibility, like, like, what is this all about? Like, what could there be? And with what we have, you know, and just this idea of starting from that, I think really always stands out to me out of these 8 principles.
Speaking about the wonder principle, I've got a fun story. I'll try and keep it short, but I live in North Vancouver here, and our community recently, well, this is a few years back, opened a new community center. And the building of the community center itself is a great community asset, and people had, you know, for years championed to get a new rec center built. The rec center was finally built, and it was the big opening day, and you know, the community was very excited. Everybody's going to go, you know, go to the opening and have some cake and cut the tape, whatever. But there's Vancouver, a lot of people love to commute via bikes. Cycling is pretty big here. And there were a lot of people saying, well, the new community center is fantastic, but there's no safe bike route into the community center. It was on a really busy road. And so there was kind of a group of us that had lobbied the municipality saying we would love to see a bike lane going into the community center, because you don't necessarily want your 10, 11-year-old kids riding in there on a busy road. And the municipality had kind of said to us, well, we don't really think there's appetite for that in the community. I think people would rather it be more car focused and they'd rather just drive and drop their kids off. So speaking of the Wonder Principle, we kind of got together and we were thinking, I wonder, like, what if we just for opening day created like our own bike lane into the community center and tried to gather people to ride in with their kids for opening day. So this thing kind of word of mouth spread, and we actually people brought their own like cones and pylons, and we created this whole bike lane from the little village to the recreation center. And it was all word of mouth saying, everybody, let's meet at 2:00 at this coffee shop if you want to ride in with your kids. And on the day of the opening, there were like 400 people that convened at this coffee shop to ride into the rec center. And it was all, we started with this, I wonder if we were to just make our own fun bike lane for the opening day, how that would go over. And long story short, like 6 months later, the municipality put a proper bike lane into the community center. There we go.
Wow. Very cool.
Cool. Katso, I noticed that you had wanted to go into the transformational room. So what drew you to that one? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute, Katso. Katso, you're on mute.
We can't hear you, Katso.
Hello.
Hey.
There we go.
Hello. Okay. So I was still stuck in the main room even from the first session. But anyways, I really like to talk about transformation principle, because with the experience I have now with the communities that I'm working with, we have an amazing story here where they refused, or they didn't attend a community gathering where the politicians have come to give out some food packages. And I must tell you that we are to hold national elections in 2022. So a lot of politicians are going all over the places and the villages and trying to invite people to come and elect them in the next elections. So the communities or the groups that I'm working with have been giving me feedback that they refused to attend such gathering. That was amazing, because under normal circumstances, before we came into this community, teaching them about ABCD, they really thought that it is part of life to attend such and get something from, sometimes it's this other international organization who comes into the communities thinking that they are poor, and they just come with food aids and fertilizers and seeds and so on. So now that these people really understand that it drops off their dignity to always come and to these gatherings and fight over food and insult each other on the queues and all those chaos that happens during such gatherings. So I'm really encouraged to see how this principle transformation has sinked into their minds. As it says, it brings a new paradigm of dignity and self-respect, which gives the mental and emotional connection, which is necessary to work together and helps people to work together to overcome the barriers of poverty. So I'm actually, I resonate very well with this principle because I can be able to see how it has impacted on our people.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I want to comment on the momentum principle, because I have a story of my sister. Because of COVID, all the graduations were canceled, and not a whole lot happened for the graduates. And my sister had an idea. She's like, well, I wonder if we should create a bag, and fill the bag with things just so that the grade 8s get acknowledged for their hard work, and the high schools graduates acknowledged for the hard work. She sat on that idea for a long time, and she was scared to do it. What if nobody helps out? What if? And I said to her, that, really what the momentum principle is saying, by the act of moving forward towards something, people will come and join you. And it was magical. And she was floored with the community support, because at first she was all by herself. Next thing she know, her garage was full of donations of cups. And they actually put a logo on the cups and thanked. Somebody created personalized framed pictures for all the grade 8 grads. And she ended up having these bags that were so full of stuff. And so just by the act of just doing it and trying it, and how might we, this beautiful, great thing happened. And if she didn't do it, nothing would have happened. And so that momentum principle really hits home for me.
It's actually interesting because Janine's story kind of correlates to that, except for that she was talking about wonder that kind of sparked the momentum, right? And I'm reading what Sam wrote here in the chat. He said the momentum principle is just amazing. You see it's through swimming. You know how to swim. It's so encouraging when community comes to this and starts doing small things to keep their vision moving. Again, you can never know what you want unless you want it or you are in need of it. It is then in the very act of moving towards their goals that the community begins to uncover its potential. It kind of brings those two thoughts together.
And I also am a big fan of the momentum principle too, because sometimes it can just feel so daunting and you just don't know where to start, and you have this great vision, but it's just little by little chip away at it, and eventually you'll make great progress, right? It's that kind of getting started. Sometimes it can be so tough, but just take that first step.
Yeah, still on momentum. And it's one amazing thing that I'm beginning to realize. We had an asset-based community development exhibition, where these communities that we've been training were trying to come up with something that they have done without
Well, I lost Katso.
Yeah, I wanted to say something when we talk about like the momentum principle, at times you can never know like how strong you are.
Help to 10
and
groups.
being strong.
Yes, but I trained about 6 groups, and they now want to like or like visit each other. So they are organizing an event in which they will come from different places and gather to one place to celebrate what they have done, like to show the rest of the communities in a different village what they have done. So they will be doing that on the first week of November. So then maybe we'd have a chance to get some pictures and videos so that we can see. So I think they are gaining momentum. They are now moving forward, and they began to rediscover their deeply seated dreams and opportunities that they have found recently. So it's another story that I think these principles, it's now revealing itself in our communities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Sam, you got cut off there. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, can you continue with?
Yeah, so I was just saying that. I was just saying that sometimes you can never know how strong you are, and to me, all these 8 principles, I would just say to me, it's just a story of transformation that has lots of like stopovers, like because when I see like positive principle, and even when I see wonder principle and also momentum, it's kind of one story. Like when the ideas have been changed, when you want to be now positive, so you can't just be saying, oh, now I am worthy, now I can do this or I can do that. I mean, you need to do some kind of, to have some freedom even to share people, like freedom to ask questions. People begin to ask questions on what they can do and imagine some possibilities. I mean, because they have really changed, they have shifted their paradigm. So I would just say then when you ask questions, you can't just stop there. You also need like to do some small steps. So I love, I would say that I love momentum because that's kind of a test, like when people are in the community, because the only thing that makes people like remain their problems is like the fear to start, or rather how will it go? And again, it is connected to, can we do this without such people? Can we do this? You know, you do something big in the community, they will always ask you like, oh, so you mean you got the money? So you mean you got the support? You know, it's kind of in the people's mind. So I would wish to say like momentum is when people are not scared, and then when they want to bring to life their dreams, what they have been dreaming, by just beginning to do one step. And it's very interesting when you begin with one step, then you will all just like, you will all wonder like, oh, wow, so we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. So one thing will connect you to the other thing. Just like when you are driving your car and maybe one of your spare parts is not okay, it's not moving on well. So when you don't go to the mechanic at the spot, it connects to the other spare parts. It connects to the other spare parts till, I mean, your car doesn't really move. So I would say momentum is when people decide, okay, this is what we think. Because again, you cannot know what you want unless you begin and see, oh, this is what I want. And I am encouraged by just saying like a wise person, like it's not the person who knows everything. I mean, it's somebody who knows where he can get what he needs. So, but where will you get it? Is when you start. You start to do this, oh, I think I should do this. It's kind of building a house also. You can't just say, okay, I have this house in my mind. I will just build it. No, it's until you start. Do the foundation. And then out of the foundation, when you are raising the bricks, you will know, I think I can go this way. I think I can turn this way. I think I can do this room. So let me be short, but I'd like to say I love this momentum principle because it's actually, it makes you go deep. Sometimes you may think, what if I fail? What if it doesn't come through? But again, I'm also asking myself, what if I succeed? What if I get what I had wished to get? So it's through the journey. It's like, again, I always see when somebody stands somewhere asking a ride, maybe people will be going. To me, that person doesn't really bother me, like giving him or her a ride, especially when he's standing. Because standing really means, you've spoken to somebody who will come and pick you. But it's very interesting when somebody is moving and again is asking a ride. So when you give him a ride, oh, wow, so he has already started the journey. So that is how we meet with what we want after we have already started doing some of the things. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. That's inspiring. And I love all those metaphors that you've shared to help us understand it. And Sam, I noticed, I think you're the last African standing in this call because, well, Stella's in California. You're the last.
I'm African.
I mean, on the continent of Africa, your location. And because I think we have lost, it's late there, right? So they've all gone to bed probably. So it's probably a good time to wrap it up. Sorry if there was more you wanted to share. I guess if there's something that is just burning, you have a burning desire to share, you can just cut me off or I'll give you a second.
I was going to add to what he just said when he said that sometimes we ask. My favorite principle is the wonder principle, but I like the momentum principle too, because he said something about when we ask ourselves if we can do something. So what I have realized that in some communities, the problem is the mentality. Like, how do you perceive yourself? How do you perceive what you can do or accomplish? Yeah. And I think the momentum principle start with what you think you can do and accomplish. And this is what I'm working on with right now with young entrepreneur in Congo, where we talk about doing things differently, and everything starts with how you see what you can do. Because for a very long time in most of our community, from what I know in Congo, even in school, they don't teach you that there's so many things that you can do and accomplish. Most of the time we are limited. And then when you leave school, you find yourself in a world where you don't even know where to start. And you feel like everything that you have learned doesn't serve you to do whatever you dreamed of doing. So you start doubting yourself. And then in your path, you don't find people who tells you that you can do it or you are capable of doing it. So most of the time, that momentum that we can have inside of ourselves doesn't start, because I remember when I was a child, I could dream that I could do 15 things, like I can be a doctor, an astronaut, and have 15 kids. But now I'm starting to say, oh my God, 15. But at the same time, I had the ability to dream. I had that momentum. I felt like I could do anything. I was able to change the world. But as I grew up and I started meeting people around me, most dreams were not possible, because people were telling me that there are things that you can do, there are things that you can accomplish, certain things. So sometimes we start losing that momentum. And the fact that sometimes we join an organization where they tell you that, hey, there's a way for you to work on that momentum that you had when you were a child. And I felt like bringing that in many communities, that will help them shift the paradigm. No, is that the way they see things, that will help them shift. Because if whatever we do with those communities, if we don't have them see themselves differently, whatever we do wouldn't work, because everything starts with the mind. How you see yourself, how you see your community, how you feel about the power that you have. So this is why I liked what he said, because myself, to talk to start speaking in English this way was really hard, because I felt like, oh my God, how can I do it? How can I accomplish it? How can I speak? Especially most of the time when I'm in meetings like this, my camera is always off because I feel like, but it's just like feeling that you are around people that can give you that momentum to just speak, that can allow to give you that space to connect with the wonder principle, that where you can ask question and question whatever is being told to you. That's why sometimes we feel like we can trust the people that we work with, because I'm allowed to question, for example, hey, Daniela, why are we doing this? And then she can give me an answer. So that will create the fact that if she answered me and explained to me, this is why we need to do it, it gave me the momentum to trust her, to start moving toward whatever goal that we have. So that's what I wanted to add to what he said, because I really liked it.
That's great. Well, your description of the wonder principle is 10 times more powerful than what I shared. Next time, if we do a presentation on this, we should have someone connected to each principle. Like Janine, your story, what just nailed it so well. And like every principle with the, oh, did I freeze there? It's great to see how people connect so intimately with the principle.
If I could just make a quick comment.
Absolutely, yeah.
I would, I think these are, each one of these principles resonates strongly with me in terms of what you need to be to do successful. So I compliment you on them. I think they're great kind of guideposts to look at in terms of everything you're doing to make sure you're on track. And I can see, especially when you're weak in one area, how it would give you some guidance in terms of how to strengthen that area to succeed. So these resonate all with me, and congratulations on putting them together.
Well, thank you. So, Gordon, I'm curious where you are, because we got a little sneak peek into your world. But what city are you in?
I'm in a small town called Antrim, New Hampshire, USA.
Okay.
Southwest part of the state, rural part of the state.
Yeah.
So, and we were just to say we were lucky to get this legislation that actually builds into municipal government an ABCD planning. I wrote the bills. And we did get it passed by the consortium of people. So we were looking for a structure, permanent structure in municipal government that would really, there's nobody paying attention is responsible for this, for the social fabric of our communities in New Hampshire. It's all peripheral. Yeah, you have safety in schools and all that, but there's nobody paying attention anymore. The church is used to more to building our social capital in our communities.
Yeah. Were you at the opening session with John McKnight yesterday? Yeah, I mean, he just did such a great job just getting down to the brass tacks of ABCD and its points of application. And just one thought on that is that he really focuses on, well, the number one question that he has is, what do you care about? So, when he goes into a community, are you working with the community? That is the question that needs to be asked. What do you care about? Because you can have all the assets in the world, and you could even be taking those assets and trying to apply them here and there and everything. But it's that element of creating affinity between people. So Janine, that was the big question in your story. Do you guys care about this? And it turns out they did. But nobody was asking the question. Nobody was saying, what do you care about in that community? And, Gordon, in your case there, with that question's not being asked, and now you're asking it, or you're trying to work it into the structure of what's going on and everything. But it really, that question connects a lot of the dots, because it goes from raising up assets to then actually activating those things. Like Sam kept talking about how there's that natural confluence where they come together and move and wonder and asking all those questions, then moves towards momentum and just taking action. So it just comes from that question. So, well, why don't we close it there? It's been a long session, and I'll turn it over to you, Heather, to close us off. But I just appreciate you guys being here, and thanks for the hosts that helped us through it, and just, you know, all the people, so many people that came together to continue to work on the principles, and we can continue to work on them going forward. So thanks, everybody.
So I want to say maybe we need a new principle called the messy principle. Because I think we learned that today, and you know, the work that we do in community is not linear and doesn't always go the way we think. And I'm really excited to have met Jamie and Daniela to come onto the call and do this. I love the principles in the work that Tamarack Institute does across Canada, and asset-based community development. People were looking for that recipe. They were looking for a checklist. And John McKnight's famous quote is, when you've seen one community, you've only seen one community. And so you can't have a checklist. Where these principles allow us to, is really a mind shift, right? Allow us to check ourselves and the way we work in community, and, you know, and guide us and remind us, and, you know, and keep going back and doing these checkpoints as we're doing our work. And so, you know, I think they just, again, what, you know, ABCD is nothing new. These principles are nothing new. It's just packaged so nicely. And put some effort, and, you know, and it's useful. And so I thank you for that, for you putting it together and then sharing. Now we just need to get it out and share it. And I think we're doing a really great job. We did record it. It's going to probably be 2 recordings because my computer shut down. And so all the recordings will be for all of the sessions available post. And I just think you're all inspiration. And, you know, every time I come to the groups and hear all these stories and the amazing work that's happening, it just makes me so excited to keep doing what I'm doing, and getting out there in our communities. So thank you very much. Good night, good morning, good afternoon.
Thanks, Heather.
Au revoir.
Well said.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.